Good morning, this is FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. I'm in Dallas at the Fairmont at the annual Fuse meeting, and I'm with Geoff Gordon, the executive director. Geoff, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you, Kemp.
It's good to be with your group. First time the group's been together face-to-face in 2 years. You were talking earlier about the karma around COVID and how you had the last industry meeting 2 weeks before the COVID shutdown, and now you have one of the first coming out on the other side. It's kind of interesting, isn't it?
Well, and the crazy thing, it was really a week. So, we met the first week of March in 2020. A week later, California shut down. So we got our meeting in then. And now, of course, we scheduled this meeting 9 months ago, a year ago, and COVID numbers have plummeted. So I'm like, wow, the group really has good karma. And we've had a huge turnout because I think everybody's glad to get out.
We were talking about working from home. We've had some great roundtables today. Everybody's enthusiastic. One thing I'd like to point out is you were talking about the new Geoff Gordon. You've gone a little casual on us here, haven't you?
As I've been making the rounds, I didn't travel a whole lot for 2 years. I suddenly realized that my clothing's a little outdated, the wool slacks and dress shoes and all that. So yeah, I've gone a little bit more modern. And I've gotten a lot of compliments, so I think I'm okay, because what I didn't want to be is the old guy trying to look young, but I actually think I pulled it off.
All right, so this is the largest group ever for a Fuse annual meeting. There's roughly 400 people here, right?
Yeah, which is about 100 more than what we had in Palm Desert 2 years ago.
So let's break that down a little bit. How many members do you have now?
We're up to 135. We have about 220 locations. And over this 2-year span of not being together, we've added, and I don't have the hard number, but about 25 new members. So I think with all the things going on in the industry, all the challenges, COVID, everything else, there have been independent companies that have felt like it was really important to get involved in a network so they know what's going on. There's been so many changes.
And you just added 2 in Cleveland, right?
Yeah, we just added 2 in Cleveland. We signed them both last Friday.
And you've added 10 new vendor partners. You showed a slide. Of those 3 significant ones are Geoff, Milliken, and Ooze and Oots, right?
Yes. And I think that says a lot about our organization. We try to really support our vendor partners. We always say all along, we have our customers, but the vendor's also a customer, and we need to deliver growth for them. That's why they join our network. But we talked today also what a good year we had last year, better than we thought. We finished overall with our vendor partners up 22% over 2020 and up 4% over 2019, which when the year started, we would have never predicted that. And now we've come out of the gate in 2022 and business is still very good and our backlogs are very good.
That's amazing to hear those numbers because we watch what's going on the commercial side of the business and we're not seeing that kind of growth. So you must be taking share.
Well, I would guess so. And the suppliers have told me they've estimated commercial growth last year at 10%. So if we're at 22, I would say, yes, we're taking market share. I think our members have done a good job of going to the market segments that are busier. So corporate we know is off. Hospitality we know is off, but education and healthcare have been very strong, and we have members very engaged in both those markets.
Well, James Leslie showed us a slide that showed that the commercial carpet business was up 5%.
Yeah.
That gives you another data point.
I've been in this business a long time. I've never seen years like this where we have all these headwinds. First it was COVID, now it's multiple price increases, delivery delays, and yet business is very good. And I have a phrase I continue to use that our members are very upbeat because business is good, but they're very beat up because it's harder. We're having to negotiate pricing. We're having to break the bad news of delayed deliveries and all that, and that doesn't go over so well. So our member owners are very conscious of the fact that their employees need to be supported more than ever because they're having to do some things that are hard.
I mean, if you understand this business and know commercial flooring contractors, how they kind of fit into the grand scheme, they're in the middle. I mean, you've got the manufacturers, suppliers on one side, you got the GC, A&D, and the end user on the other side. So it's easy for them to get squeezed. And so you asked today in the roundtable discussion what some of their challenges were, and obviously this price increase thing is one of the biggest things, right?
Absolutely. So, and actually, the 3 biggest things are pricing, delivery, and labor. And it seemed like in the discussion today that not everybody was overly complaining about the labor, but they did note that they're having a challenge in some areas getting people to do the job within the time frame of the job and all that. So it's just been a lot of challenges one after the other.
You know, one of the things you had this morning was Mike Moore on, who always talks about how to improve your business. He's a coach. He has a lot of structure to that, and it's a good message, especially for your members who their role is to motivate and build a team of people, right?
Times like this, you have to really be running your business. You know, we get caught up in the weeds a lot, putting out fires, writing change orders and all that, but you have to take a step back as a business leader and really evaluate, are you creating the best environment for your people, and are you supporting them enough, knowing that they're going through a difficult period? I mean, not only just with COVID and everything else we've had, but just the business itself, trying to get jobs completed on time, getting the pricing worked out. Our profitability is being squeezed just like the manufacturers because we can't get every price increase through. We sign contracts. In some GCs, we'll hold our feet to the fire.
You were talking earlier about Fuse and the acronym, and you were talking about the F in Fuse is for family, and you can tell by the tone of this group that everybody's really loving being back together, wanting to share best practices and learn from each other, right?
Right. And we mentioned it today, too, is you're not alone. And I think that's why we've added a lot of new members, is these independent companies. When you're going through challenging times, you don't want to feel alone. You want to find out, are other people experiencing the same things? How have they worked through it? And we talked a lot about, well, how have you been able to get price increases through? What tools have you used? How have you negotiated? And we had some good ideas and good conversation about that.
I'm going to interview that lady from Kentucky. Sounds like she knows how to get it done.
Yeah, in fact, I talked to her later, and she was kind of funny. She was just saying, my customers love me, but they know when I put my foot down, I put my foot down.
All right. When we talked to economists, they said that 22 was going to be a really good year. We're coming off of the sluggishness. People know the commercial market is a lagging growth market. And then, now we've got this conflict in Europe. So what's your outlook for the coming year?
I kind of go with the manufacturers. Our business is very good because we have backlogs that are very good, and that leads to a lot of business down the road. We're under contract. But I've heard it from other suppliers, too. And I should add, the Architectural Billings Index is still good. It's at 51. So that's also a sign business is good. But with this escalating conflict in Ukraine, that's one of those things that's out there that could potentially have an impact. We just don't know. So, we're knock on wood, we're going to be okay. We've got enough business to sustain us through 2022, but a world event like that could make an immediate impact at some point. We just don't know.
All right, Geoff, thanks for spending time with our listeners. Again, been talking to Geoff Gordon, Executive Director with the Fuse Alliance here in Dallas, and you've been listening to Kempar and FloorDaily.net.